And greetings, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another Sylvia and Denise show.
Hi, happy holidays.
Yeah, she's got her nice Yule tree back there. I'm in my bedroom, so you won't see mine. So, but we have quite a great discussion today. We're going to go into service to others and how we do that. And Sylvia does her quantum hypnosis healing therapy, and I do my mentoring. And but we just wanted to touch bases with what's going on with everybody. There's a lot of people that have been contacting me, talking to me about everything that they're going through with the energies right now. And I've just, even though I've had a lot of issues going on this year with my life, I still cannot stop from, holding my hand out and helping others. And one of my subscribers contacted me, and I spent a lot of time talking with her, trying to help her out. And one of the things she wanted to do was to move to Colorado, where I live. So I just noticed all the synchronicities as we were talking, and it was almost like this was meant to be. And I told her about one of the cities that she should really check into, and that I had a friend there, and everything just seemed to be falling into place. And she was just, the more I was talking to her, the lighter she was feeling, and she was just feeling like there was some direction for her. And so I connected her with this friend of mine in Canyon City, and that person just basically shot her down. And I was really surprised. People are just reacting so strangely. And it really did. It shot her down. And so I reached out to this friend in Canyon City, and basically she didn't want anything to do with it. She said she had 30 surgeries this year, and she's always got something going on, and she doesn't have time for anybody. And, it really hit me in my heart center, because now this is when we really are supposed to set aside the bullshit. Sylvia, you're going through a ton of bullshit, but you're still out there kicking ass. And it just makes me sad, because this is what we're supposed to be doing right now. We're really supposed to be helping each other. Yeah, we're all, she says, well, we all have problems. And it's like, yeah, we all do have problems, but we need to still, send that love and reach out and do what we can for each other. So,
you know what? Honestly, it's totally selfish that I help others, and that sounds bad, but it's absolutely true. You know why? Because I realize when I help someone, it's like I'm channeling an energy, the big me, the real me, the I am, and it heals me as I heal them. So totally selfish. Yeah. I'm helping somebody, but oh my God, does that raise my vibration? And so who wouldn't want that? I mean, wow, it's magical.
And that's why she's been dealing with so many surgeries, a lot of illnesses, because she's not getting any of that back.
Right. It's not, there's no energetic balance, and her soul begging her, please, we're here for a mission. You're not fulfilling your mission.
Right.
You got to share that light.
Yeah.
It's like the infinity symbol. It goes out to you and that other person that you touch, but look, it comes back. And you send it and it comes back, but then it's stuck. It stagnates if you don't send it. You can't get it back.
Well, and you know what she's doing? She's doing the exact opposite. She's feeding the other side. Ooh. Because she caused the person that I was trying to help, she caused her despair. So they're feeding off of her despair. And then they're feeding off of her, the other person, because the other person's like, well, I just don't have time. And, my life is, so they're just going, yum, 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 yum.
And also she's declaring her demise.
Mm-hmm.
She's energetically placing those prison bars all around her. She's calling in more problems because she's declaring that that's her reality.
Yeah.
And no, I choose to dissolve the bullshit. I don't want more of it. And so I love what you're saying, that yeah, it's true, especially right now. You know, it's a dark time. It's like the weather's dreary. It's already hard enough waking up, ascending, going through all the crap we're going through. It's not easy. It's not for the faint of heart, but like, it's like a water slide. You're committed to that fucker and you can't get off. So it's like, you're on it. Okay. So use your tools. We know what we gotta, what we need to, you know, to make it better, and constantly keep reminding ourselves, even us, like, we forget too. Yeah. We need healers too. We need sessions too. You know, so, but I feel like, when I lift somebody up, I get lifted. The person above me lifts me, and oh my God, yes, thank you. We all need each other. You're holding constantly somebody's hand, constantly. But are you going to be dragged down, or are you going to lift up? Yeah. It's a choice.
Yeah, yeah. And it is. And, you know, it's like, either you come here to be in service to others or in service to self. And I think it's time, you know, that those like you and I really do get out there and look for opportunities to help. You know, it's your challenge of the day. Today, I'm going to look for an opportunity to hold my hand out, even if it might cost me a little bit more time out of my life, you know.
Well, and then does it really? Not really, because I feel like those synchronicities are placed on your path because there's something that you asked for in that. That's how God works, you know, like it's, follow the breadcrumbs, be inspired. This is the thing that you asked for. We're bringing it to you disguised in the version of this woman asking for help, and in helping her, you're going to receive your gift. But you know, I guess in 3D we've been trained like, oh no, mine. I can't. I have to hoard it. There's not enough. There's scarcity. Yes. You know.
Yes. Lack. You know, lack is such a curse that was put on us. You know, I lack this, so I can't give out anymore because I don't have enough. You know, we're always lacking. So.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not saying that I'm better than anybody, because I'm definitely not. It's a work in progress. But I myself struggle with thoughts like that. I used to struggle with, you know, holding on to money very tightly, and like, oh, there's not enough, and competition. That's not true.
Right.
But it's like, this ascension is a fight with yourself, with the old you and the new you, who you're trying to become.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And I'm guilty of that too. You know, that's why I like talking with you, because you are authentic, you're real, you tell it like it is. And I think that's why so many people like you, because there's so many people out there that are standing behind this facade of, I'm already in the higher dimensions, and, you know, and I don't ever have, you know, and it's just.
Yeah. I remember watching those people. I would get so triggered and so angry, like, because it makes you feel like you're broken. It makes you feel like the 3D, honestly. It makes you feel like you're doing something wrong. You're not good enough. You're not meditating enough. You're not raw vegan enough. You're not whatever retarded, you know, labels and rules, and that's not true. None of that is true.
Yeah, it's back to that lack. I'm lacking something because I don't feel that the same thing that person feels. And the problem is we get afraid to speak about our lack, or because we don't want anybody to know that, oh, we're not like them. There must be something wrong with me. So I'm not going to say anything because I don't want anybody to know, even though we're all thinking the same thing. You know?
Yeah. And honestly, I feel like our duty is, when you get out of that dark hole, you are obligated. That's why you're here. You have to tell the others how to get out of that black hole, because that is your job. That is why we're here, to illuminate the way for others. Like, hey guys, I found a secret passage, you know, go this way if you want. Nothing, everything's a choice. You don't have to do anything.
Right. You know, and those people who still wait around for something to happen to them, they're going to be waiting forever, because you know, and I always say, I have a character in one of my books, and she's an old gypsy wise woman, and she's always saying, the journey is the destination.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes. And you know, what I have seen lately is a pattern of, especially when it gets as brutal as it can be, like the thick of it, how we're in it right now. I feel like what has helped me the most is a daily practice of, as soon as your feet touch that floor, start your practice.
Yeah.
Like, you know, protection, shielding, gratitude, setting the intentions for your day, declaring what your day, today is a great day. Why? Because I said so. That's why. I'm going to make it great.
Yeah.
Because I said so. And I am the boss of my movie, of my reality. You know, Dolores Cannon said, this is just a movie, how even Shakespeare says the world is a stage, right? It's a play. So you're the director and you're the main star of your play, of your movie. So what do you want it to be? Do you want it to be crappy, like that lady said? Oh, she has nothing but problems. She's always having surgeries. Or do you want something else? Like, okay, I've done that for a few years now. I don't want to do that anymore. That's where I'm at. Okay, I've done the whole, you know, marriage thing, and I'm not knocking marriage. I loved it. But with somebody who treats you with respect, with somebody that reciprocates your energy, your time, your attention, your fidelity, I mean, you know, all of that. And if you're not getting it back, then what the heck is the point? It's like, well, what are we doing here? This is not even real, you know?
That's
so
right.
It's like we're being stripped and cleansed of all the stuff that is not real, and including friends that are not reciprocating.
Right.
And I'm coming across that in spades, like having to clear out people on social media, on everywhere, even in my phone book, in my contacts, like, oh, I don't even talk to them. I don't even remember the last time I talked to them. Bye, delete, block, whatever. And even being tested by spirit with situations in my life where I'm like, that's kind of crappy. I would never have done that to that person, but they did it to me, and I love them, but I'm not going to tolerate that. Like, that's not fair. Especially with what we're going through, you have to be your own biggest advocate, your own best friend, because who's going to do it? You have to do it. Like you have to step in and be big brother, big sister, and be like, okay, no, we're not tolerating that anymore. Goodbye. Like, you know, get your life straight and then come back to me with respect and reciprocity, because if you're not going to reciprocate, then what's the point of, you know, this interaction? You know, if I'm not going to get what I give you back, then I don't want it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, you know, and that's the thing, you know, so many of us we've been shut down so many times. I was like, you know what? Sometimes I feel like they're not even worth it. I don't even want to help anymore. You know, you just get so dragged down in the dirt, but you really do have to just, like you said, start the day positively, give yourself an intention, a challenge, and just work through that. Because when you're feeling like that, it's that energy is inside of you. So, you know, you just need to snap out of that.
Yes, you can either go uphill or downhill.
Yeah.
And I mean, man, either one is super addictive, and either one will snowball. So you're either going to get like higher, 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 more positive, more excited, or you're going to get crappier, no.
Yeah.
So like, and that's not to say that stuff isn't going to happen, but I've noticed it's so weird now. The more I do it, the more I'm able to like zoom out of myself and like observe myself. Like the other day, I saw myself get tested quite a few times in a row. And I started laughing because I'm like, really, guys? Like my team, right? Whoever's up there helping me out. And stuff kept happening. Like my alarm didn't go off. And I have to take my kids to school by a certain time. And I'm like, that's okay. Take your time. We're going to go slow. I'll drive you to school. Because usually I drive them to the bus stop at the corner. But I'm like, yeah, whatever. We'll just drive to the school. And then I spill coffee all over my car. But I don't drink, I don't put sugar in it. I don't put anything in it. So I'm like, I like the smell of coffee. Who cares? And I mean, little things that normally, oh my God, I'm so OCD. I'm trying not to be. But things that would have, sent me over the edge completely in my old 3D life. Now I'm like, whatever. There's no sugar, so really it's water. And I mean, I cleaned it up, but wow, before I would have flipped out and I would have been yelling at my kids, and then it's contagious. And their day's shot to hell. My day, like it's everywhere. Then you're just sending that negativity out, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's like me. It's like lately I feel like I have to keep grounding because I feel like I'm just kind of hovering above my body because I'm constantly jamming my fingers and breaking nails and stubbing my toes, you know, and it's like you before, I'd be like using the F-bomb all the time, you know, and now it's just like, Denise, just get back in your body, will ya? You know, but.
And asking for help. You can ask for help.
Yeah.
From source. I mean, not anything else, but like, I feel like that doesn't mean we're not purging. I was losing my mind yesterday, actually. And I find that, thank goodness that it happened yesterday. It's like my, the other me scheduled it. Like, oh, okay, well, we're going to have our nervous breakdown on Thursday. That way we film on Friday and we're feeling great. And it's so funny because I'm like, oh, I feel good today. Okay. Because yesterday, whoa, I mean, fetal position, crying.
Oh, no.
And I mean, purging, but I let it come out. I gave myself the permission to feel whatever it is I need to feel because I want to get that crap out. Get out. And I didn't beat myself up.
Yeah.
You know, if I need to cry and watch a movie, my favorite movie is Gone with the Wind. It's so empowering. And I mean, a lot of people are like, what? Why are you watching that? I have no idea. I know I've lived a life on a plantation because I feel like I'm there. Yeah. And it's just I get a lot of messages in movies and certain movies, like even Star Wars. Yeah. Oh my goodness, what a wealth of knowledge, Yoda. Wow.
Yeah. Like, well, and it triggers. You watch it and it triggers. It awakens. You know, it awakens. But I caught a really interesting Arcturian message this morning. It just came up on one of my YouTube feeds, and it's like sometimes it's like what I'm supposed to listen to just kind of shows up, and it was like something from Ashtar Command or something, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna listen to this. Well, it was about the love frequency, and a lot of us have been talking about that love frequency lately, and it was talking about this love frequency coming in and how it's something that we're just so not used to. And we really have to work hard to receive this and actually allow this. So we're going through a lot of hard times right now just because of this frequency that's coming. And so I kind of found that a little bit interesting.
And what did they say? Like, why is it, do we experience it like as anxiety or why are we having such a difficult time?
Yeah, because, it's because I think for one, it's a higher frequency, and you know, and another thing is like I said, we're so used to, you know, it's like a family that the kids grew up and all it is arguing and fighting, and it's like dogs fighting over food, and there's no love, and so when things start getting normal in that family and things are really calm and quiet, it feels very foreign to those family members. So those family members,
like the quiet before the storm. I think that it's the PTSD.
Yeah, so they don't like that strange feeling. So they look for ways to restore their old negative balance, you know, and bring back that disharmony. So we're kind of going through that. It's like, we're like, no, this feels foreign. This doesn't feel right. I shouldn't be feeling this. So, you know, we're causing all kinds of distress and we're just going through a lot of weird issues, you know. So they just said that and they talk about the star chakra.
Where's that at?
I don't really know, and I didn't listen. I should have listened to the very end of it. I'm gonna find that and send it to you.
Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
was,
Put a link below.
yeah, I'll put the link below and let the people can watch it and they can
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
what
And
they.
you know what I'm wondering too, it's kind of like a glass or a container, which is what we are, right? We're a container, we're a vessel. So it makes sense if something new is coming in, that means it has to push out and displace the old.
Right.
So when the old leaves, you're gonna feel it. It's like vomiting. It's all there. It's all coming out. So maybe that's why I was in the fetal position yesterday.
That could be that, you know, and I'll tell you what, the last 2 days, I felt like I got hit by a bus. I mean, just and no energy. So it's just been really strange. So yeah, something is definitely hitting us.
Right. And when you receive, usually what happens for me is when I'm purging, it's all coming out. So crying, triggers, whatever. And then after that, there's an integration period. I guess that's when the new is coming in. And man, that knocks you out. That makes you feel so tired. So when you're in that, go with it. Take a nap, rest, take a hot bath, salt bath, drink tons of water to integrate the energy, and work out. Go for a walk, move,
get out in nature, hug a tree.
Get out in nature. But if you can't, walk around your house, jump around, stretch, do jumping jacks, something to move that energy. Move it. That way you can receive more.
Or if you got a plot of land somewhere, take your shoes off and stand on. I know it's winter time, you know, so we can't really do that, but you know, but it's always good.
I'm in Arizona.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. See,
I mean, it's windy, but I even though the ground sometimes is wet or cold, I still do it, even if it's for a little bit. Like I feel the earth calling me, and if she calls me, I'll go. I don't care how cold it is. Even if it's raining, if she calls me, I go because I know it's for a reason.
Yeah. Well, I have because, you know, up here in the mountains, I go out to feed the horses and it's, you know, 20 degrees out there. So the ground is really hard. We don't have a lot of snow right now, but I have so many trees and I have this really cool tree. So I love to take by really good unfiltered raw honey, and I'll go to the trees. And then I'll spread the honey out on the ground as my offering, you know, anytime something comes in my life that, you know, prayers have been answered or whatever. And then I'll put my hands on the trees, and because, you know, the trees are just a conduit to Gaia. And so
that's another way to ground. Hey, what a great idea. Yeah. If there's snow on the ground, put your hands on the trees or hug the tree. Put your solar plexus to the tree, your heart chakra to the tree.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, see. But so anyways, all right. We did the updates on what's going on with the energies and the people now. So
chaos per usual.
It is. Is there gonna be light at the end of the tunnel? You know.
I feel 2019, oh my God, it feels like a rocket ship. I've been feeling that since May. That like I remember I used to complain. Oh, when is something going to happen? Come on, let's get on with it. The event, blah, blah, blah. And I heard, you better enjoy this. Enjoy it because you're going to be so busy. Yeah. Because that's when everybody's going to start waking up, the other people. And we're not going to have time to catch up.
Yeah. Leo.
That's validation.
Yeah.
Leo says it's true.
Yeah. Leo, come here. Come here, buddy. Come here. I know you're a big, tough Spartan dog. Come on. All right.
He thinks he has a giant buddy.
So I think it probably could be a good time to get into QHHT. And I know you got a lot of stuff, but I'll start out with my.
Yeah, because it how funny that it leads into the Arcturian message that you heard.
Yes. And the love. And, you know, the love and the Arcturians, which you know, my session was really interesting, and I was one of those people that didn't go into a past life or anything like that. I went straight up to an Arcturian starship.
That is so cool.
what I was doing was I am on the ship and I'm projecting myself into this physical vessel that's on Earth.
Wow.
But like, we kind of talked about it. It's like, I'm in this, and it's so funny because I'm doing this, and I can hear everything around me, and I know I'm seeing this vision, and I'm still thinking, oh, am I making this up? Am I making this up? So
it happens to me too every time.
Yeah, and my practitioner she said, everybody says that, Leo, Leo, Leo. And so right after I started questioning myself, I suddenly I just felt the love. Leo, you're barking in the microphone. I just felt the love. I mean, I couldn't describe there were no words to describe how it felt. All I could do was cry. I just started crying. She's like,
I feel it in my heart chakra right now. I feel it like, whoa.
She's like, why are you crying? And it's like, because I feel the love. It's so
oh, I love that feeling. That's the best.
So she tried to take me to past life, and I really didn't go anywhere. That's about it. But we did talk about a gathering. There was this huge gathering. And I thought it was going to be like in 2016, but I think that timelines got a little bit changed and pushed out, but kept talking about this great gathering, and it was like families it's gonna come together, and so Leo.
That's beautiful.
Stop it, I'm gonna put you in a closet. So that's mine. Leo, stop it.
What I've learned from timelines is that the reason, and everybody gets so ticked off, including myself, because I'm like, whoa, this was supposed to happen and that was supposed to happen. How come that didn't happen? And it's so funny because we're just holding on so tight to this one scenario when we don't realize that what if they've made it better? And by they, I mean us, because it's just all versions of us, right? All the us's out there. And everything that's happening is being tweaked because there's something better for you, not because you're being punished or to make it harder. You may be perceiving that in the moment, but that's never how it is, never. So the reasons also are because we're in this huge movie with all these other people that are playing parts because we told them, yes, you are this. You know how, there's a lyric in a song that I like that says, you're not special, I made you special. Kind of like the persons that we're in love with, there's nothing great about them. It's just your perception of them.
Right.
You're aiming your love at them to be mirrored back to you. But really, they're just the vessel that you're using. Because you could do that with your dog. You could do it with your kid. You could do it with your friend. You could do it with yourself. And people tend to think, oh, no, it's that person. They're magical. Well, actually, no, it's you. You're magical because you're sending your magic to them, and that's making them magical. So all these characters in our movies have free will. And if they change their mind for whatever reason, because their soul needs to grow more and they need to stay in kindergarten or whatever it is grade that they're in, and it would benefit them to stay longer because either they like it, because some do like the drama. I mean, that's why we came to this planet, because it's exciting, it's fun. And even in looking back, you're like, oh, what a ride. Like you said in one of your videos, what a ride. And I mean, if everything's calm and easy, you're going to be bored out of your mind. So come on, let's face it. In hindsight, we're going to be like, whoa, what a rush. That was so cool. And then this happened, and then I did that. And then you're proud of yourself, right? Because you make it more exciting. So I feel like when the timelines don't go the way that you thought they were going to go, is because either you or them changed something. They changed their mind. They're staying back. They're not choosing to progress to the next grade, to the next echelon, whatever. And so there's so many factors. Everything is so divinely orchestrated and so intricate. If you think about it, it's like a spider web. You know how beautiful they are. They're so intricate, and look at so many little facets to it. And so like, I feel like stuff is being rearranged right now. I got the vision yesterday when I was purging that things are being shifted, and like the larger version of me, whatever you want to call it, you know, words are so limiting, is rushing me. I feel like I'm getting rushed, like kind of like before you get ready for a party or a wedding or something big, graduation, whatever. You know how you're running around crazy trying to get ready, trying to get everything ready. Oh my God, I got to do this, I got to do that. And that is the feeling that I got. Like my team is rushing, like, hurry up, Sylvia, you got to get rid of that crap. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. You can't take it where we're going. Hurry up, let it go. And I'm like, oh, okay. So it feels like a preparation. We're in a huge preparation, and it is so fast right now. It is the fastest that it's been. But because you have to be ready to receive everything that you've been asking for, you're getting it. But like, come on, drop all the junk, all that garbage, the people, everything that you know is not serving you. They're not, you know, they can't go on the next part with you, or maybe they can, but you need to give people the space and the time to heal and to grow at their pace. Because who wants to grow with a gun to their head? I mean, nobody. Right. And you don't want to force somebody to love you. You don't want to force them to choose you. The magic in it is, wow, they chose me all on their own. They found me all on their own. What a gift. Yeah. We don't want to make anybody do anything. So that's what I've been really challenging myself with, is that radical surrender. Just limp, go limp. Okay. And I found this beautiful quote that says to be, because my goal is to be in neutrality. That's what I want. That's what I want for Christmas, to be neutral, because I feel like 3D is like you're either supercharged one way or supercharged another way. I just want to be in balance. And when you're neutral, nobody has power over you. I love that. How magical to be in your own power and be like, yeah, you can do whatever you want, but it's not going to trigger me. Yeah. What power? Wow. That's what I want. So the quote says that you surrender in the moment, complete acceptance of whatever it is that's happening, even if it feels chaotic, you know, in your perception, that source energy is responding to it beyond your knowing and beyond your need to take any action. So that means you don't have to do anything. You just, okay. And that's it. And whoa, it's powerful. And honestly, the most magical things are super simple. They're not hard. Mm-hmm. I mean, like getting yourself in that mindset is a bit challenging, but you can do it. Yeah. And just keep aiming for that over and over. And that's all I do. Yeah. Just constantly yanking myself back to that.
You know, meeting the challenges. I mean, I have this huge fear of driving in the really busy city. I have dyslexia, so when I'm trying to follow directions and listen directions, I get turned around. And, you know, I had to go drive to Fort Collins to spend time with my daughter after her surgery, and my husband couldn't go, and he usually drives. So I had to drive this time. And I was just like, I have to do this. It's time for me to meet this challenge, and it's time for me to step out of this fear and just do it. And you know, I got turned around when I got down into Denver. I got turned around and found myself traveling the exact opposite, going to Grand Junction, and I just said, help me. And then I saw overpass. Right after there's an overpass, get on that overpass. I got on the overpass and came back around and got back on schedule. But I was so proud. My daughter was even proud of me.
Oh my goodness. I know exactly what you're talking about. The same thing happens to me when throughout the divorce, I'm doing it on my own. I'm representing myself.
Right.
I'm going to legal aid. I live in a rinky-dink little tiny town that has nothing. I mean, the biggest store is Walmart, whoa. And so I have to go to the nearest most metropolitan area to me, which is an hour away. Oh my goodness, talk about major anxiety every time before I have to go there, because it's not my norm. When you get into a cycle of, oh, these bitty little country roads, and you could close your eyes and drive to the store because you've done it umpteen times, and we get in a rut. And as much as we hate the rut and we're like, oh, I want some excitement, I want something else. Yeah, well, then when you get the change, you're freaking out, right?
Yes.
So what do you want, lady?
Yes.
We're giving it to you. So I do the same thing.
Yeah.
I do the same thing. I ask for help. I call friends, beautiful, amazing friends, I love you, that calm me down, because talking to somebody else, it reminds me, you know, this isn't true. Like, have you ever seen that movie Divergent? Oh, so good. Not that the movie's so great. I mean, it's a good movie, but I got a lot of messages out of that movie, because there's a scene where the main character, her name's Tris, is in they put them in a simulation because they want to know what group to put them in. So they're testing them on their 18th birthday. They put them in a mind simulation, the Matrix, and she's essentially going to sleep like a hypnosis, and everything her mind is seeing feels real. So she's in a tank like Houdini, and she's drowning, and she starts to panic. And there's another version of her that pops up and says, this isn't real. And she says, oh, it's not real. So she touches the glass and it shatters, and she just gets out. And everybody's freaking out. How did you do that? How did you do that? And she's like, I don't know, I just got out. And so she's called Divergent because she cannot be controlled by the Matrix. That's like us. We cannot be controlled by the Matrix because we know what they're feeding us is a lie.
Yeah.
But right now we're birthing the new us, because we're still dropping away those remnants of the programming that we know it isn't real, but it's been ingrained in us for so long that it's like, is it real? Is it not real? Like, I know it's not real. So it's a battle in your head.
Yeah.
And I highly recommend that movie, or just look up the clip on YouTube. I'll try to link it below.
Okay. Yeah.
Because that reminds me, okay, calm down. It's not real. You're freaking out over nothing because it's a story. And you know, fear is just a lack of knowing. You're making stuff up from the past. And then when I think back, when there was really horrible stuff, I didn't get a warning. I never got a warning. So honestly, the fear is bullshit, because it's not helping you. Because if something were really going down, you probably wouldn't even know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And if you think back in your life, all the horrible times that somebody betrayed you, or you caught somebody cheating, or whatever it was, you had no clue. I mean, it's like, boom, whoa, what?
Yeah. Those blind sides.
Yeah, so the fear is really not helping you, never.
No.
And it's always a liar, because it tells you you're going to die when you're driving. Well, I'm still here, so all those hundreds of times were not true.
Right. Yeah, yeah. Okay, girl, so why don't we get into some of your sessions?
Yeah,
that's what you do. We would like to hear some of your sessions.
Yeah, and well, this is one that I had on myself. That's the first one I wanted to talk about, where I had one on myself, and I trade with fellow practitioners because it's fun. And I mean, I have challenges that I'm trying to find out what the heck is going on too. So I had a session, and just like you and like everybody else, I questioned the magic. I'm like, am I seeing this? Am I making this up? I was telling Denise before the show, before we started taping, that every time that I go into a session, and it's just my ego trying to control everything as usual, right? The conscious mind wants to control and protect. So every time when I'm going into the session and I'm starting to see things, my mind right away says, oh no, you're making this up, because it doesn't make logical sense right away. It's clues, it's kind of like you're being handed a hammer, a potato, and a rock, and you're like, what do I do with this? And you don't know what it is, right? It's like a puzzle. And then later, when you look at it when you step back, it's like, wow, that's what it is. Oh my goodness, now I see it. So at the time, and since I do sessions with people, I'm able, when I have my own session, to be in that space even faster, because when they get hypnotized, I get hypnotized. And I think that's fascinating that we're sharing the same energy. And I feel like maybe that's why it's so challenging for me to meditate, because I'm always meditating for hours when we're doing the sessions. It's a giant meditation. That's all it is. And so I don't like put a gun to my head to meditate, because like I said, I'm always meditating because we're doing the sessions. So in my session, before the practitioner was even finished with, talking me through the scenario, I'm already there. I'm like, come on, I'm there. And I was seeing a hot pink ground, like a magenta color, but it looked like, kind of like the Grand Canyon. It was like rocky like that, but it was hot pink. Everything was different shades of pink. And I'm like, what is this? And I saw my body. I was really big and really tall, like 6 feet, and I was blue. And I remember seeing myself, and I'm like, whoa, that's weird. Kind of like the movie Avatar, how they're really tall and blue, but more glowy. Like my skin was really glowy and blue. And then I remember seeing my husband. I knew it was him. Like, like when you have a dream, like, it's your mom, but it doesn't look like your mom, but it's your mom. It was a knowing. So it didn't look like him, but I knew it was him. So he's really big. He was probably like 8 feet tall, and he was blue. And it felt like college, like a university. And then I got a knowing that I was on Venus, the planet Venus. How appropriate, love. And we were going through training before we had to come to Earth. And we were both there learning about emotions. And we were learning about emotions on Venus, but the teacher, the instructor, whatever you want to call him, was an earthling. It was a man, a bald man. He had glasses, and he looked like a professor. And he kept going over and over, like trying to reiterate to us that, these are just lessons. These are just books. But when you're down there, when you go to Earth, it's going to be totally different. It's kind of like talking to somebody and giving them books on how to drive. And in theory, you have the idea, but you can't instill in them instincts, or, like when you're actually driving, it's totally different than someone telling you. So doing it and in actual physicality is completely different than the idea of it, right? So that's what this professor was trying to tell us. Like, okay, everybody, like, you think you got an A on your paper and you think it's going to be easy, but it's going to be really different when you're on Earth. So I remember like, yeah, whatever, I got an A. And then I remember seeing my husband's paper, and he got an F. And I remember seeing the big red circle with an F in the middle. And I remember kind of like when you're in school and you get called to the principal's office, and we had like dorms, and his team came, his guides and angels and whoever worked with him came, and it was like a council, and they were having a meeting with him. And I remember asking the professor, well, where is he? And the professor said, well, he's with his team. And I said, why? And he said, because they're trying to see if he can do this, because he's failing. And they want to know, can you cut the mustard, essentially? Do you have what it takes? Because if you can't pass this training, then we can't send you to Earth. So if you can't do it, we're going to have to send a replacement to go with her, because we were a team. And I remember in that life, like I had a knowing of who he was, but it was so interesting because there was no emotion. There was no emotion. Like now, even though we're going through what we're going through, I have love for him. I feel love for him. sometimes I'm pissed off, but I feel love for him. But in the life, there was no attachment, none. So it was very like, oh, this is so-and-so. And that's it. Kind of like a buddy at school. Oh yeah, that's my partner in math or science or whatever. But it was the detachment. I could feel it was very neutral, very like, whatever. If you pass, great. If you don't, I don't care. And then them talking to him. And then later in the life, or in the session, I find out that that's why he's struggling right now, because he didn't pay attention in the courses. He just like, did everything really half-ass and was like, yeah, whatever, cheated, whatever, in the course, in the training. And now it's reflecting, it's being played out during the final, and he's failing the final. And I mean, honestly, there is no failure. You just go another route. You go the hard way, or you go the scenic route. Well, he's going through the mountainous, treacherous way, whatever, because some people like the chaos. They like the drama. They like, the excitement, the skydiving or whatever it is. And they want to see how far they can go. That came out in the session too. They want to push themselves so far away from source and then find their way back and be like, oh, I did it. I found my way back. But it's so extreme and so big and so loud and so chaotic. But they like that. They like that thrill. Mm-hmm. And their soul gets more experience. They learn more. So that his soul is younger and mine's older. And I've had other incarnations. So I've had more under my belt. And so he was newer. So, like before you go into something, oh yeah, I could do it. No problem. Yeah, sure. And then you're in it. You're like, whoa, I didn't expect it to be like this, So that's what that session was like. And then I had another one where I do sessions on friends for fun, because like I said, it's fun and I'm nosy. So I do it with my kids. I do it with everybody, because it's fun. So to me, I would do this whether I got paid or not. And I mean, obviously I need to support my kids and myself, especially right now. But for me, it's fun. And I feel like that's a big marker of if someone enjoys what they do, then they're going to they're going to put more effort into it, as opposed to, oh, I have a gun in my head and I have to. Then don't do it, because it's not fun. Only do it if it's fun. So I had this session, and what I find interesting is that at the time, I thought I knew what it was about, and it still could be about extreme weather. That's what came up. And it's so funny. The more I do sessions with the same people, when I repeat it, I find they don't go into past lives anymore. They go straight to source, or they go straight to the other side, and they see family members that have passed, or they see source. And my son, he goes straight to source all the time. And I find that fascinating. And he was jumping on clouds, and he comes to a man sitting in a throne, a big gold throne. And I feel that the way they show source to you is probably your perception. Maybe, I'm guessing that's his perception of what source would look like, because in a lot of other people, it's just a big bright light. But for him, it was a man in a throne, like Zeus, he said, and it was source. And he was just jumping on clouds, and he said, oh, there's God. And I said, how do you know it's God? And he said, because I could feel him. I feel the power. And I go, well, what does it feel like? And he said, it feels like when you know somebody is really, really important. And it's like oh, it's him. You get really frozen in just respect and awe. So he was awestruck. And then so I asked, at the time I thought it was about extreme weather. And like I said, it still could be. Just because it hasn't transpired doesn't mean it's not coming, right? But now in looking back at it, I'm wondering if it's about what's happening and what's been happening, which sometimes we think extreme events are weather related. That was my assumption. That was the way I saw it. But what if it's extreme events energetically, not weather, not snowstorm, not water, not earthquake, even though those things are happening anyway. But we are being, what if it was the solar storms? What if it's all this energy we're being bombarded with? I mean, even though we've been like saying, yes, please give it to me, give it to me. Well, when we get it, it's like, whoa, we've never felt it before, yep. Right? And then it causes that purging. So it's like, you want it, but at the same time, you're kind of scared to receive it because you know what that comes with, right?
I totally agree with that, because you're talking about perception.
Yeah.
It's so our perception of the grand solar flare wave or whatever, you know, right now our Earth-based perception would be a tidal wave or, you know, yeah. Right. So I totally get that.
Water is the representation of emotions. So yeah. That just barely came to me like a month ago. And I was like, oh, we have to talk about this because I have the notes and I applied it to my own life. And oh my goodness, it matches exactly. So if it can help somebody, please, I want to help somebody.
Yeah. You know, and I had a dream like that too, where my husband and I were going somewhere and he was driving and he wanted to go a direction I didn't want him to go because this wave was coming. And he didn't survive the wave, but I did. And, you know, at first, a couple of years ago when I had it, I was like, I just associated it with a natural disaster, water. But then after I talked about this dream again in one of my other videos, it dawned on me, just like you, we're talking about energy here.
Energy, yes. Mm-hmm. And people are freaking out right now, and it's just going to get more intense. So really be on top of your daily rituals, your daily energy, you know, catering to yourself, really doing your daily practices, whatever it is, meditation, you know, affirmations, chanting, praying, anything helps. And if you don't know what to do, ask for guidance. What can I do to make it better? And you'll be guided. You'll synchronistically find the right videos, the right people, the right conversations, the right articles, because that's how it happens for me. I just stumble across this stuff, and I know it's not an accident. It's being brought to me because I asked for it, right?
Mm-hmm. You know, I think you're telling me that some of your friends and your children, they're not going into past lives, they're going straight to source. I think that's because there's some of the beings that are coming in now to even the score, so to speak. You know, it's like they're coming straight from source to help you, to help
right.
me.
Oh my goodness. I'm so glad you said that. Before I begin with the session notes, I just wanted to say there is no magic special way that you have to ask for help. And even though I you know, say this stuff to help people, I need a reminder too. I forget too. So it's so funny because it's like the same thing that I'm helping somebody else with. It's like, then it comes back to me from somebody else and I'm like, oh yeah, I was talking about that. And I did it too. I forgot too. How funny. So I was asking for help I got the idea, a friend suggested that I call in help from Divine Mother Mary, Jesus's mother. And I grew up Catholic, but I don't participate in that religion. I love the tradition of it, and some aspects are very beautiful, but I don't like the control and like the limitation. That there's a lot of negativity, there's a lot of fear, and I grew up very fearful, and I don't like that. So I didn't impose that on my children. I let them choose what they want. And so I didn't really have a close relationship with Mother Mary. So I felt very foreign to how to invite her to help me. And, you know, going through this divorce, of course, I want as much help as I can receive. And so I started trying to cultivate a relationship with her. And all I did was ask. I invited her. I called to her. I lit a candle. And that's it. And I was diligent about, you know, cultivating this relationship. So every night, you know, the kids were in bed. I'm going to bed. So I talk to her. I tell her what I would like her assistance with. I send her love. I imagine her. You know, I keep the candle lit to her because I'm calling her to me. I'm inviting her. It's like picking up the phone to call someone. Well, I thought in my naivete that, oh, I'm doing it wrong because, you know, nothing has happened. Even though I felt deep love and peace when I would talk to her, I thought, oh, I must be doing it wrong because, you know, we think because you don't see microwave results that nothing is happening, right? Well, I started seeing, usually I would see Archangel Michael and Archangel Metatron. I would see a blue light for Michael and a white one for Archangel Metatron. Then I started seeing a red light, and I had never seen a red light before. And I was fascinated by this red light. What is this red light? Wow, I have never seen it before. So I looked at it, I admired it, but I didn't know what it was. Well, I had a healing session with a woman. She reads astrology charts, and then she tells you all the lessons you came in, you know, to solve or relive or rectify. And then she gives you a healing. So I received the healing, and she says, oh, Mother Mary's with you. Oh, she is? And she says, yeah, she's in your heart. She's protecting you. She's guiding you. And I got so excited, and I thought, wow, it did work. So then I felt obligated to share that, because just invite whoever you feel called to, invite them and talk to them. That's all you have to do. And I know it's sad, and I'm kind of disappointed with myself that I needed somebody else to tell me that she was with me, because I could feel her. But you know, we doubt, we talk ourselves out of the magic, like in the session. Oh no, I'm making this up. You know, no, you're not. Because why? What's the proof? The emotion, like you said. You can't make up that emotion out of nowhere. I was bawling in mine. I was crying so much. And why would I be crying? If I'm just watching this illusion, why would it would not evoke emotion if you were not tapping into that life, right? So that's.
You know that Mary is actually given to the pagans when Christianity started to get them to come in the church.
No.
She's actually the goddess.
Wow.
Mary's the goddess. Yeah.
Wow. And that's what I was told. In my head, I heard it's the divine feminine is helping the divine feminine rise. Us, women, helping other women to rise.
Yep. Yep.
To remind ourselves of our divinity, that you are worthy, that you are loved, that you are magical, perfect, just how you are right now. There's nothing wrong with you, and you matter. Your energy, your words, everything about you, your life, your existence, we need you.
Yeah. How perfect. I mean, and it just perfectly fits for what's going on.
Yeah, and so please, I encourage anybody who feels called to invite Mary, or anyone you feel called to. It doesn't have to be her. I have also felt called to invite Archangel Metatron. I've been inviting him. Even though I used to see that white light, I don't see it as often anymore. And so I've been trying to cultivate my relationship and invite him in. And I think it's more that he's calling me than me calling him, because it hadn't occurred to me. So now I feel the pull to call. So I think it's me answering the phone, like, I'm here, yes, you know, and we're all going to be guided as to who to work with, where to go, you know. It's all very synchronistic. It's all very, so follow the breadcrumbs. That's the fun part. So now I'll read the words I took. I was scrambling to take notes when my son was talking, because honestly, he's 12. So I thought, this is probably going to be for him. He had all these questions about dinosaurs and stuff. So I thought it was going to be a bunch of gibberish. And how funny. And then the way it's worded. I can't. It's just, I get goosebumps because he doesn't talk like this. And at the time, I think he was 10 or 11. So it's a little boy talking like one of us. Like, he's not into this stuff. He doesn't know what, oh yeah, you're going to go meditate, whatever, mom. He's not into that. So I found that fascinating, the words. So keep that in mind when I'm reading this. Coming from a child.
We're getting interrupted.
Okay. So I said I had asked about what's coming or what can I expect? And he was talking to God. So he said, be calm. And I thought, oh God, as soon as somebody says be calm, I'm the opposite, right? I'm like, oh, why, what, where, when? So he says, be calm. And then Archangel Metatron comes in. And my son has no idea who Archangel Metatron is, okay? So for him to say Archangel Metatron, I mean, come on. And then Archangel Metatron comes in and he says, be calm. And he says, you need to be prepared mentally and emotionally and physically. And that Archangel Metatron will guide me mentally. And I asked, what's happening? And he says, extreme energy. No, he said extreme events, which I perceive to be water. And he said extreme events for all vibrations. And I guess your perception of extreme and vibration is different, right? Everybody's is going to be different. Like 3D's people's going to be different. Ours is going to be different. Somebody higher than us is going to be different. I mean, everybody experiences a different version of, a reality, right? At all times, depending on where you're vibrating. Because honestly, like when you're having a bad day, everything sucks, right? And you're in that low vibration. But then when you're having a good day, everything is magical. Oh, I spilled my coffee, no big deal, right? So it's your vibration. So he said, trust whatever happens and just do it. It will be a natural event. See, this is why I got confused, because I heard natural event, so I assumed crazy water, rain, snow, earthquake, whatever. It will be a natural event, but the dark will try to disguise it as something else to create fear, panic, and confusion. That can be applied to right now, right? And like what we've been living, right? Everything, they want to make it bigger and scarier than it is. They want to amplify, with these crazy news stories and on Facebook and everywhere. They want to, inject fear, because then you'll be vibrating on that fear timeline, right? And that's where they want to keep you, because that they need your energy to keep that reality going, because they can't keep it going by themselves. They need your light, your energy to anchor that timeline in. Just like when we go to the movies and we watch these end of the world movies, they're using your energy to create that reality. So they need you to be afraid of that movie, because the fear of it happening is what makes it happen. So no, don't participate in that. So he did say death is coming. There will be death. And don't worry, I am with you. This is God now. Death is coming. Don't worry, I am with you. Now, he said, I asked about the death, and he said, beings that you would least suspect. Well, I had a dog that passed, and he was pretty young. He was the youngest of the 3 dogs that I have, and he passed. And then my cat passed recently, about a month ago. And so, not even a month ago, a few weeks ago, actually. And I did not expect that, right? I mean, I knew my cat was going through stuff, but I didn't think he would die when he did. So that right there. So it doesn't mean it, and he said it's going to be in a way that you don't expect. So I assumed it would be like my father-in-law because he's really elderly. It wasn't him. It was my cat and it was my dog. And it will come to you to know what to do. So essentially your guidance, if you're calm and you're balanced, just like right now, you'll know what to do because you're calm and you're balanced. Because you can't hear the guidance from the big part of you if you're freaking out. It makes you blind and it makes you deaf when you freak out. You can't answer the phone to spirit. So you have to be very calm in your center, grounded and listening and open to the signs to hear, right? And then, let me see. I'm skipping around because there's stuff that pops up that is not related to that. He said, leaving your house for help is a bad idea. And I said, why? And he said, because there's a lot of the 3D people, the people that are still asleep, or not necessarily 3D, even though that's what we call them, for lack of a better word. It's people that are refusing the light, essentially, those people. Because I don't believe that all 3D people, all people out there, I think some of them are more awake than we realize. I think that we don't know what's going on in somebody's head because maybe they're afraid to talk about it like we were afraid. I know I was. So I don't want to lump everybody out there in that. It's just the ones that are resisting the light. That's all. So he said, essentially, if you start mingling with those that are resisting the light, it's contagious and their fear will infect you. And it's kind of like when someone's drowning, they're the most dangerous because they will drag you down and they'll drown you to save themselves. And they're not doing it to hurt you. They're doing it because they're in panic survival mode and they're not thinking, right? So they submerge you and then they pop up and then they're like, oh, I killed her, you know? So essentially that was the guidance. Don't mix with the lower vibrations because you have to maintain your vibration aligned and really high. And it's the most important right now because that is what will determine your reality. So he said that's what will determine how whatever is unfolding will unfold. And like I said, going back to that whole thing, if you react negatively to the thing like waking up late or spilling your coffee, well, then that's going to dictate how the rest will unfold, right? Then you're going to stub your toe. Then you're going to crash your car or whatever. Then you're going to get into a fight and it's on and on and on and on. So basically he's saying there's a lot of chaos and a lot of evil that's amplified, but it's only being amplified because people are resisting the light. So it's your refusal to wake up, your refusal to see what you've really done, your refusal to see how you've participated in your own suffering. Because, you know, when I was first waking up, I wanted to blame everybody around me, and it wasn't me, it's all them, you're horrible. And no, it was me. I allowed it. I was horrible. I did some stuff that I'm not proud of, and I perpetuated that cycle, right? I was the one turning the wheel. And like, that's a tough pill to swallow, that you participated in your own suffering, you know? You kept yourself in that cage. So he said, be prepared to see death, people that you least expect. What's creating the disasters or the energetic upheaval is a battle of the light and the dark. So it's like their battle in the other realms is radiating down to us, because honestly, those, like, I believe that I have a version of me that's up there fighting, and you have a version of you that's up there fighting. And I'm saying up there for lack of a better word, because I don't think it's up there. I think it's through here, wherever the other dimension, because I've had dreams where I wake up and I've been battling. I've had a sword in my hand, and it looks like a lightsaber because it's light. And like Archangel Michael's there, Jesus is there. And like I said, I'm not I'm not very Catholic, but these dreams, I remember them and it feels so real. And I wake up exhausted, like I've been battling all night and like really fighting. So I feel like we're in that battle up there and we're in that battle down here. And they're fighting with swords, but we're fighting with our energy. Our vibration is our sword. So are you going to perpetuate more darkness? Are you going to, vomit your darkness on somebody and spread that, tag your it? Now you got that black stuff on you. Or are you going to perpetuate light? Are you going to, here you go, I'm going to help you out. I'm going to lift you up. And in lifting them, you're lifting yourself, because then somebody lifts you, right? So it's what's creating the disaster is the battle of the light and the dark. And it said, I'm sorry, I'm jumping around because I'm skipping stuff. It said people will be freaking out, and that a lot of people will, the way they react, like I said, will determine what happens for them. So some people are going to pass, they're going to take their own lives. And I'm not trying to spread fear. It's just, I'm seeing it already. There's people that are committing suicide. There's people that are getting cancer. There's people that are just dying in their sleep. And I mean, a lot of these I'm seeing this on the outside and as well as at home, because my beloved pets passed. There's gonna be a lot of accidents because the energy is so amped that they're not thinking straight. They're not responding from the true them. So in their panic, in their mania, they're causing all these accidents and stuff to occur. So to us, it looks scary, but he said that there's a lot of loose cannons, but he said, don't be afraid of what is happening out there, that the dark is feeding off of the chaos. Stay calm so you don't get taken over by the dark. He says that's when you give your power away, when you partake of the fear of the chaos and you're like, oh, you're freaking out, then they got you. They're like, oh, here's another one. And then you're being puppeteered by the dark, because then we got her. Now we're going to tell her what to do. We're going to keep her down here. And it says, if you give into fear, you will give your control to them. If you choose to stay calm, if you manage your energy and you stay calm, you will be guided. You will be warned. You will be told, what to do, how to respond. It said meditating and sending love, especially to those that you love that are suffering from the chaos that's happening. We can send them love. You can send them healing. You can send them light from you, from where you are. You don't have to talk to them. You can just wrap them in light and send them calming energy to help them. Again, they have a choice. They can refuse your energy, and we don't know what people's paths are. We don't know what their soul wants them to experience. So that's a sacred journey, just like your journey's sacred. That's none of your business. I've been told many times when I try to dip into somebody's timeline and take a peek, nope, smack me on the hand, that's none of your business. Like, stay over here, you do your own homework, let them do their homework, let them learn their, lessons, because you don't know what their soul requires. So you can send the energy, but with the knowledge that it may be accepted or it may not be accepted, and you have to be okay with that, because you can't control somebody's journey. They have a choice. So it said, be a peacekeeper, try to be calm, because others are going to be looking to us, those of us that know what's going on, everybody watching this, they're going to be looking to you, because even though in their asleepness, they don't mentally know, what's going on, but their heart knows, their higher self knows, and they will be drawn to you because you're a light. They see your light, they feel your energy. So when they see you calm, that will calm them. So essentially, it's like you're the evidence. You're the one who's showing by example. And honestly, you're doing it for you because you want to be calm, because you don't want it to be more chaotic than it is. You want to get out of here. You want to, okay, let's pass this test and get out of here, because we want to experience peace. But like you said in your other video, we are a pillar of light. We're anchoring that calmness, that peace, and we're projecting it outward so that others can find a safe haven in that energy and say, oh, I can do that too. And then they can do it for somebody else, and so on and so forth. So we can spread calm in the calamity. Okay. And then it said, do not mix with the 3D zombies, which is essentially the ones that are resisting the light. That we will get impulses, we'll know what to do. But then he did talk about, like, I'm calling it a grid failure, but he said no phones, no internet. At first they will work, but then they'll stop working. And I have heard in other videos where they say when this big flash that's supposed to come to us comes, that they're purposely knocking out grids, because, you know, a lot of the grids block us from receiving stuff. You know, like that whole 5G, I don't know if you've heard about that, how they're trying to implement that to keep us blocked from receiving what's coming in. I'm thinking now that this is related to that they're trying to collapse the grid momentarily. You know, you've heard others say, talk about this 3 days of darkness. And I feel that that is very linked to what we're receiving. So it's a good thing. So when that happens, don't be scared, because we need those to shut down so that we can get that big bang that we've been praying for, that we've been begging for, that we've been saying, hey man, where's that bus that was supposed to be here? How many years ago? Like, we've been waiting patiently. So don't be scared if this does happen, where power goes out. You know, just have your things that you would need if it were to happen. But when you gather your stuff, Archangel Metatron had told me, don't do it in fear, because then you project that fear and into that timeline, and then you anchor yourself in that scary, oh no, reality. So you just do it very calmly, the same way you do when you go grocery shopping. So that's what I did. I got non-perishables, I got water, because I felt the inspiration to do so. And honestly, it's been sitting there for months, ever since I did this session. I did this session earlier this year, quite a while ago. And instead of saying, you know, being ticked off like, it didn't even happen. Well, I'm looking at it as, I have water, so I can always use water. So like, it's not gonna go bad. So it's not like, it didn't really put me out to get water, you know, but I did it very calmly, very slowly. Non-perishable food like peanut butter, crackers. Don't make it a big deal. Just, you know, oh, I'll just get an extra peanut butter when I go to the store. Oh, I'll get some extra crackers when I go to the store, and do it that way so that it's not a big scary thing. And then I hide it from myself, because then I'll use it if I don't hide it from myself, and look at it that way. And I mean, don't make it a big scary thing. It's just, I'm just being prepared. That's all. And I mean, it couldn't hurt, right? So it said it will be nationwide, worldwide, and it will be going until everyone experiences it, but that it's happening to raise our vibrations. This is a big test. If you panic, you bring yourself down and those around you. Because he said that you know, even myself, all the work that we've been doing, I think we tend to beat ourselves up and be really hard on ourselves, like, oh, I'm not doing it right, I'm not ascended enough. Well, your energy is huge. It's so giant. And the more work you do on yourself, the bigger it gets. And he said that you're like that fireman's hose that's so huge and like it can break a window because it's so strong. So imagine your energy being that hose, right? So if you are scared, imagine how much fear you're sending out and how big and scary and loud your fear is, as opposed to a person whose field is tiny. They're not going to really do much, but you, whoa, you're a huge weapon for the dark. So manage your energy very carefully, because what you do, how you feel, how you respond is way bigger than a lot of other people. So he was saying, don't panic. It will lower your vibration. Dark feeds off of you, and then it increases how horrible the experience is. It will amplify the negative. Be the most calm as possible. Find all the good things out of any bad that may be occurring. Focus on the good. Laugh as much as possible. If there's bad weather, just bring the pets inside. Bring them inside and make sure they're on a leash when you go to take them outside to do their business. And then pray, send light to people, meditate in a group. He said something called a triangle meditation. And I'm not sure what that is, but he said just imagine yourself inside of a triangle. And how funny, in Dolores's QHHT sessions, that's what she places on everybody. That's what we place on everybody, as a pyramid of protection. That's the first thing you do before they go under. So I thought that was interesting that he said triangle meditation. You imagine that you're sitting in a triangle, and that's your protection, and you meditate in it, and you extend peace out to everyone. And then he said, if you're an adult and you're with children, to instruct them, you guide them what to do. Okay, close your eyes, imagine you're in a triangle, and you're sending light from your heart center to everyone around you. Send it to the earth, send it to the neighbors, to everybody. And you can guide those that don't know what that is, right? He said, this is separating the wheat from the tare, which is, I believe that's a biblical quote. I'm not positive because I'm not biblical. But I have heard it essentially means I had to Google what does tare mean. And I'm sure a lot of people out there know, but I didn't know. And it's essentially a weed that grows to mimic wheat, and it looks just like wheat, but it's not wheat. So when the farmers go to cut the wheat, and they have to separate the tare, the weeds, from the actual what they want. And how interesting, it's kind of like sifting the light from the dark, the awake from the asleep, however you want to label it. I thought that was really interesting. And for my son to say it, I was like, wow.
The humans from the organic portals.
Ooh, yeah. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. And he said, the weak people will infect the strong people like a virus. Protect your energy. And that was pretty much it. There was other stuff, but it had nothing to do with that extreme energy. But I called it extreme weather, and it still could be, because look at the fires, look at the earthquakes. I don't believe we've had any tsunamis, and I hope we don't, but honestly, anything's possible. I recall a time years ago, and I forget how long ago it was. I believe it was about 5 or 7 years ago. I live in Arizona, and on the tip of Arizona, bordering Mexico, so pretty far away from Las Vegas, and they had a power outage. I don't know if anybody remembers that. Years ago, they had a power outage, and our power went out. It affected us. So honestly, this could work any which way. It could be some big event that happens in California that affects us. It could be in New Mexico. It could be anywhere. And we don't know what can happen. Anything is possible. And I'm not trying to put that out there. I don't want anything bad for anyone. But I do have a lot of that soldier energy, that Girl Scout energy, where I like to be prepared.
Yeah. Well,
and if I can get a heads up, I want it.
I think some of what he was saying too was we need to really broaden our perceptions, change our perceptions of how we think something's going to happen or how it looks.
Yeah, because it can go down in so many ways. Like even in predictions that have come through in sessions. Like I remember there was one session where I did where I was told that I kept having dreams that cops were coming to my house. And I was so worried. I was so scared in the dream. I mean, this dream kept going for weeks. And I kept having this dream of cops coming to my door. And it was cops that I know because I've worked with all the agencies here. So I know them. And so in the dream, I was like, oh, oh my goodness, they're at the door. And like people, family members in the dream saying, they're here, open the door. And I was like, what, why are they here? And I thought it was something bad, which at the time that they actually came to my door, because they ended up coming to my door. I mean, I didn't like why they were coming to my door, but it wasn't as horrible as I had anticipated it in the dream, because it was very amped and chaotic and oh my goodness and oh scary. It turned out to be a deputy that I used to work with coming to my door to give me divorce papers. And in the dream, I thought it was like, who are you? Where were you on the night of the 5th? And like, being accused of something. And I have already been through that. So I'm like, oh no, not that again. But I thought it was something scary, and it was just the papers. But how funny, I saw them knocking on my door. And I over and over, and it was like a warning. But I didn't know what they were coming for. And like you said, it's your perception. Honestly, he gave me a gift, and I put a big bow on those papers. I have a big giant bow on the papers because that is the biggest gift I've been given, is my freedom. Yay, I get the hell out of this fake marriage. And good, because I deserve someone who respects me. And that's my gift to myself. He's giving me the gift. So I try to look at it that way too, because I could be very angry and I could be like, oh, why weren't you better? Why weren't you this? Why weren't you that? Or I could look at it like, you know what? Thank you for having the courage to do this hard thing, because it's not easy for anybody. Nobody likes it. Nobody really wins. And I mean, you don't get away unscathed. It hurts and it doesn't feel great. But you can look at the silver linings in it. Like, I want you to be happy. You get to be happy now with whatever you think you need. And I get to be happy now with what I need. And, look at it as a good thing. But yeah, perceptions. Don't be so tight, death gripped on how you think it will be or how you think it has to be. A lot of it is it really a need? Does it have to be like that? Or is it a preference? So when I start looking at things as need versus preference, it relaxes me, because I'm like, oh yeah, it doesn't have to be like that. I would prefer it because it's what I've known, but surprise me. I'm willing to be surprised with something better that my limited perception cannot conceive of right now, No, you got some hammering going on.
Yeah, I got some hammering going on here. I tell you, always interruptions. It just seems like it's been that way for us. But, well, I guess we've been going an hour and a half. So probably be a good time for us to sign off. Mentorship from Sylvia and Denise on all of what's going on. And then there'll be links down in the description. So if anybody wants to schedule a session with Sylvia, please look her up.
And share your comments, share your experiences. Yeah. I want to know, how has it been for you? Because I mean, I get so excited when someone shares what they're experiencing, and if it's the same thing as me, I'm like, oh, I'm not crazy. Yes, thank you for saying that. Thank you for being brave enough to admit that that's happening to you. Because even yesterday, I was like, what's wrong with me? Why am I feeling like this? There's nothing wrong with you.
Right.
Let it come out. Let it come out. It's okay. And be kind to yourself. So what helped me the most when I feel the lowest is to imagine myself as a little baby, and I get that baby and I hold it and I'm saying, okay, baby, we're going to lay in the bed and we're going to watch a movie. And you're okay. You're safe. I have you. Nothing bad's going to happen to you. I'm not going to let it happen. And we're going to watch this movie. And that's it. Tune everything out. And whoa, did that save my life.
Yeah. Self-soothing.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
And giving yourself permission, the permission.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because we feel guilty. Because part of me wanted to feel, oh, you could be doing this, you could be doing that. No, I'm giving myself permission to take a mental health day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then by the time my kids got home, I was out of it, out of the funk, and I felt great. And oh, I'm so grateful that I allowed myself that time.
Yeah. 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 Well, good advice, good information as usual. Always so happy to have you here.
Oh, I'm happy to be here. And we got to do it again, because I swear I can go forever.
We'll just keep doing it again and again and again. Yeah. All right, my dear. Well, so happy to have you, and thanks for everybody watching, and we will be with you soon.
Bye.